Welcome. I am Christy. This is Stress Release Yoga. Take a big breath. I often like to begin my own practice with standing poses, just with a couple of standing stretches, or as kind of a break. So if I'm doing my exercise bike, I will often get off my bike and come and just either feet together. Usually I do feet wide, and I'll just take my feet out wide and do a forward fold. I'll work on releasing out some of the tightness in the hamstrings, and then I'll pop back onto my exercise bike that is back behind the camera. I find that the muscles start to tighten up as I'm going. And then just by taking that, 30-second, 1 minute break to stretch out the muscles, then when I get back on, they can move a little bit faster. And then you're working on, when we're doing these kind of aerobic activities, the hamstrings, if you're running or biking, hamstrings tend to get really tight. Just, every day of the week they can be tight. So standing stretches can be a great way just to work out some of that tightness, but also in the middle of your aerobic routine, just great to stretch out those hamstrings. All right. Take a big breath. We're going to start with feet wide. Let's do arms up overhead. Loosening up shoulders too. Anything where you're kind of in the same position all the time, seated at your desk or on your exercise bike or running or whatever. When you're really pretty much in the same position, shoulders also start to get tight. So I'm just going to reach those arms up and then let them come down. And start to ease your way forward as far as is comfortable for you. You can always do this with a chair, right? You can use a chair back or a chair seat. Just set your arms down on and bring your head down and get a nice stretch for your back and your legs. Let your spine lengthen out. Feel your breath. We're going to gently work our way back up. If that's a good one for you, you can hold that for quite a while, just working on letting the spine feel like it's lengthening out, letting your legs lengthen out. But you may want to break it up. You might want to come up. You might want to bring your feet a little closer, a little farther apart, varying the space between your feet. So let's do that now. We're going to bring the feet closer together. I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to bend my knees this time. And you're just going to watch. How does this change what's going on in my back, in my legs, in my hips, shoulders? So feet closer together. You can bend your knees. And then notice how the back starts to round a bit as you're bending your knees. The knee bend can be quite deep. You can do a little bending and straightening of the knees. Keep breathing up. So if those hamstrings are super tight, you want to go easy. Bending the knees or taking the feet out wide can be helpful so that you're not overdoing that stretch. But just notice how this changes what you're feeling. Now I can feel it a little bit more in my low back than in my legs. For you, that may be different. And then inhale all the way up. Shoulder blades down. We're going to reach those arms out and up. Nice big breath. Let the hands come together and down to the heart. Good. We're just going to make our way into a seated pose so we can do a little bit of breathing. I find that if you start right in just sitting, I think that can be hard. I often like to do those little standing stretches before I just try to sit still for a moment and breathe. So come on into a seated position. Nice breath. depending on what's already been going on in your day. If it's early, you may not have that much stress, but maybe you were doing a bunch of little chaotic things and your stress is pretty high, so breathe that out. Yeah, if you're in a good quiet place, you might even scream a little. In my car, sometimes with my windows up, I will kind of go, to let out some stress. That counts as breathing. Alright, we're going to do let's just loosen up the spine a little bit more, and then we're going to do Nadi Shodhana. Let's do right hand on the floor beside you. Bring that left arm up. Feel what's going on in your shoulder. This might be your spot just here. Or the arm could be lower too. Feel what's going on. And try to tip to your right side. If you're able to bend farther from the waist, you're just going to create the head dropping down a little bit more. Right hand could walk out. So you can bend a little bit farther to the side. Pay attention to what you're feeling in your left shoulder area. Breath. And then gently come back up. You could even scream between sides, right? As you're releasing that breath out. You can do a little "Arr!" Sometimes in the middle of the pose or coming out of the pose, I will definitely make a little groaning noise. Alright. Left hand's down. We're going to bring that right arm up. We're bending from the waist, and you're just feeling what's going on this side, regardless of what happened on the other side. If you're going farther, left hand can walk out. Breathe. So I just noticed that my right hip was tightening up. If you find those little things that are happening while you're in the pose, if you notice those spots that are gripping, try to soften them. And then inhale back up. And then both hands come behind you, behind the back. We're going to interlace fingers together. Pull hands down towards the floor. Inhale, hands up away from the body. Big breath. Let your hands come down. Inhale, arms up overhead. You could do this with hands low. We're going to take it into a twist. So if this doesn't work for you, it doesn't always work well for my shoulders to have arms up and twist to the right. So pay attention to how is that shoulder moving. Is it better to just begin with your hands down and just reach your right hand behind you? Lengthen up spine. Let your left shoulder drop down. Big breath. Come back to center. We're going to take it to the left side. Left hand behind you. Nice full breath. Pulling that left shoulder blade down, but working on both shoulders, dropping downward. Shoulder blades back. Left shoulder blades back. And then we're going to come on back to center. Again, the hands can come up or they can just come in. Nice full breath. Nadi Shodhana. Sometimes in meditation, I do this mentally, a variation of it, with just using our minds, imagining that we're breathing on one nostril at a time. So Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. We're going to do this. You can do this with your thumb and your index finger. You can do it with your thumb and your ring finger. And then you can either place index and middle finger, right kind of between the brows, or you can tuck those fingers down. Now that's difficult. If you have arthritis or something in your hands, it can be super difficult to bend those fingers down. You just want to be able to close off your right nostril and then be able to close off your left nostril. So again, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can just be thumb and index finger. So close off your right nostril. Take an inhale through your left nostril. It is allergy season. If you're a little stuffy, it's going to be a little slow. Inhaling through one nostril. Just go with it as best as you can. So inhale left, and then we're going to change sides. Close off the left nostril. Open up the right. Exhale through the right nostril. And then we're going to inhale through the right nostril. Then when you're ready to change, close off right. So you're going to exhale through the left nostril. And inhale through the left. And then we're going to change. Exhale and inhale. Right side. Just going back and forth. So every time you're ready to exhale, you're going to switch to the other side. Exhale, inhale. All right, so from here, let's see if we can do about 5 full rounds. Just on your own, at your own pace. Exhale and inhale. And your last breath with one nostril closed is the left exhale. And you're ready, just let that go. Take a breath. Start to move the torso a little bit from side to side. So that's a relatively simple pranayama yoga breathing technique that you can do anytime, just to help you calm down. If you get a little bit mixed up, it really doesn't matter, right? So just closing one nostril at a time. Exhale, inhale. Good. All right, let's come out onto hands and knees. We're going to work a little bit on feet. Bring the bottoms of your toes onto the mat. Push your hips back towards your heels, stretching out those feet. Breath. Come back to center. Bring the tops. So bring your feet up, curl the toes, and bring the tops of your toes down onto the mat. We're going to push the hips back, put a little pressure onto those toes. And then come back forward, lift your feet up, wiggle your toes. And then let the feet come down, round into a cat pose, head and tailbone down, belly and spine up. Let your spine drop down towards the floor, dropping it between the shoulder blades. Your head and chest come up. Really rough. And round it back into cat pose. You can push your hips back in a cat. You can come like almost into a child's pose with those hips. And come forward. In your jog, as you let the spine drop down, you could bend your elbows. Bring your head and chest closer to the floor. Just feel free to play with the poses a little bit, noticing what happens as you shift the body positioning a little bit. Good. Okay, thread the needle. We're going to come back kind of to a soft cat. Bring your right arm underneath your left. Palm faces up. Shoulder comes down onto the floor. If you're good here, if your neck is okay, left arm can reach up. You need a little support for your head. Press your hand into the floor. Let your elbow point up towards the ceiling so that you can take that left shoulder blade backward. Getting a little bit more of a twist in the spine. And you're opening up that left shoulder. At the same time, you're working on the right one. Come on back to center. Press into that left hand. We're going to round it into cat pose. Inhale into dog. Back into a soft cat. Let your left arm slide underneath your right. Palm up. Yeah, feel how you're doing on this side. Right arm can come up or push that right hand into the floor. Elbow pointing up. Pushing your right shoulder blade back. Breathe. And then back to center. Around into cat, and then we're going to press it into a down dog. If you're not doing down dog today, just feel free to do cat and dog or walk into a standing forward fold. If you're doing down dog, legs can be straight or knees can be bent. You can move around a little bit or you can be still. Walk your feet towards your hands. Exhale, fold in. Take a breath. Inhale all the way up to standing. Shoulder blades stay down, arms reach up overhead. Hands together, exhale down to the heart. Big breath. Stretch out your jaw. And then we'll do warrior one and humble warrior. Hands on hips. Right, let's do right foot back. We'll do left foot forward. You never know when I'm videoing how this looks for you. I'm standing sideways. Sometimes I do mirroring. Alright, and then I get confused. Okay, so left knee's forward, bending, pointing forward to the center of the foot. Right foot's back. We're pressing into the outer edge of that back foot. Shoulder blades down, arms come on up. Big breath. Exhale, so that's warrior one. Exhale, hands down behind you. We're going to take it into humble warrior. Interlace fingers, hands pull down. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, fold forward. Bringing the body towards the leg. If it'll go, you're going to drop it past the inside of the thigh. You're not trying to let the body drop past the inside of the thigh. You're just leaning forward to wherever the body's going to let you go without too much discomfort. And then we're coming back up if you can. If you're unsteady, hands down, step that back foot forward. If you're able to come back up into a warrior one, bring your arms back overhead. And then hands together. All right, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to bring my left foot in and fold forward. So again, just a nice little easy wide leg fold between sides. Your head, come down, maybe shake your head a little. And then inhale all the way up. Take a breath. Good, we're going to walk the feet in. Shake out those legs. Good. Alright, facing the short edge of your mat. Step your left foot back. Now right foot and knee are forward. Right knee's pointing to the center of that right foot. Tailbone down. Press the whole back foot into the floor so you're not rolling onto the arch side of the foot. Press that outer edge down. Inhale, arms up overhead. Warrior one. So the abdomen's in, the spine's up, the shoulder blades are down, the fingers are reaching, the hips are dropping down. Breath. Hands behind you, or they can be on hips or on the leg. Always make it your own practice. Interlace fingers behind you. Pull hands down towards the floor. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, fold forward. Breathe. Relax your face. Either come on up or hands down and feet step together. If you're coming back into warrior one, arms are going to come up. And then hands together down to the heart. So you can pivot that front foot again if you want. I'm just going to flip around here. We're going to do another wide leg fold. Feet out wide, fold in. Let your head come down. So this time, pay attention to your feet. Let your feet intentionally roll to the outer edges and notice what's happening to your ankles and feel what's happening in your legs. Just observe that sensation in your legs. Take a breath. And then start to push your foot flat on the floor. So making sure the ball of the big toe is down into the floor. Observe how that changes your ankles. Any difference in sensation in your legs, your back, your hips. And then start to roll, push down a little more firmly, bringing the outer edges of the foot up. And observe what happens there. And then let yourself roll back onto that flat foot. Let it roll back out onto your ankles. Out onto the outer edges so you're bowing the ankles out cautiously. And then come back to center again. Trying to observe, you can come back up, those subtle sensations, right? Those subtle shifts in what you're feeling, in where you're hitting the body. Just by those tiny little movements of feet. Just rolling in and out. Sometimes you'll find, so that one's, usually we're trying not to let the ankles bow out. A lot of stress on the ankles there. We're trying to be fairly level on the feet here. But I want you to become conscious of how these little subtle shifts change what we're feeling in the body so that you can adjust your poses to work better for you. Something may hurt, and the tiniest little shift in how you're holding that shoulder can really make a difference. Or it's that it's sore and you need to find, where's that sweet spot where I'm really releasing that tension out. Looking for these little subtle changes in the body positioning. All right, come back up. Send your feet together. We're going to face the short edge of the mat so we can do a sun salute. Line those feet up. Again, observing where your feet are. Do you have a tendency to roll out or in? Okay, my feet are relatively aligned. Because of my scoliosis, my one foot used to always be slightly forward of the other foot. Yoga has helped even that out a bit. So just look to see where your feet are. Line them up. Stand up tall. Tighten up the legs. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms out to shoulder height. Fold from the hips. Arms come down. As soon as you start to fold from the hips, hands are working their way down in the direction of the floor. They may only come to your thighs. A-okay. Inhale into half lift, wherever that is for you. Lifting up the chest, flattening out the back. Exhale, fold in. Bend your knees. Step your feet back into down dog. If you're coming into child's pose, drop your knees down, sit back. If you're doing the sun salute, if you're doing the vinyasa, make sure your wrists are lined up. Lately, my right wrist has always been in front of my left. Come on into plank. If you're using knees, drop your knees. And then tops of the feet are on the floor. Make sure you've got control. If you're flopping down because you've got your legs straight and you don't have the arm strength, or you've got some connective tissue, you're hypermobile, shoulders are wobbling, drop your knees so you have more control. And then lengthen out your legs once you're down. Then into your back bend. Shoulder blades back, chest forward. Get that sensation of arcing the upper back. And then come on back into a child's pose. Shift those hips back. Bring the head down. And then come back onto hands and knees. We're going to do the feet again. Bottoms of the toes onto the mat. Push your hips back towards your heels. Feel that stretch in your feet. Observe what's going on in your ankles and your lower legs. If you're not having pain there, walk your hands back towards your knees. See if you can sit up on your heels. Notice how that changes what you're feeling. Observe ankles, lower legs. I can feel this mostly in my toes. Then bring your hands down if you're okay there. Bring your knees up. Come back into a squat. In this squat, because feet are close together, there's going to be space underneath the heels for most of us. You might be able to get your heels down. Everybody's a little bit different. If you can balance, you can come on up. Bring your hands to the heart or maybe up overhead. Again, notice what's going on now in your ankles and your feet. If you can bring your knees closer together, whoop. You might knock yourself over. Hopefully you're not going to hurt yourself. If you can bring your knees in, I'm going to try to balance there. And bring your knees in a little closer together. Whoop. No, evidently I can't do that. And then try to lengthen up. So we're really making our feet work here to try to keep our balance. All right, we're making toes work. All right, and then we're just going to tip it into a forward fold. Let your hands come down. Tip into a forward fold. Take a breath. Come on up. From a standing position, we're going to do the tops of the toes. Hands on your hips. Step your right foot back. We're going to curl those toes. Right foot's going to lift over. We're going to curl the toes. Bring the tops of the toes down into the floor. Put a little gentle pressure. You can shift your weight backward if your foot's okay there. Foot can be closer. You can put a little pressure straight down, or you can extend that right foot out behind you. Again, notice how does that shift what you're feeling in the foot. I think if the foot is a little bit farther back, I get a little more stretch through the top of the foot and the front of the ankle. If it's a little closer and I'm just pressing down, a little more just in the toes. All right, and then we're going to shake out that right foot. Line your feet up. Take a breath. And then left foot's coming up. So again, we're going to curl the toes. We're going to bring those toes down onto the floor. Wherever you're doing that, and you can change your position, and you can test this out. Do you want the feet close together? Do you want to take that left foot back a little farther? You're going to shift a little bit of weight backward. That was awkward. Backward. Getting a little pressure onto your foot. Good. And then release it out. Shake it out. So feet are going to play a major role in our posture, the structure of our poses, what we're feeling in the body, right? Because most of it we're building from the ground up. Take another breath. We're going to do another sun salute. This time we'll do a lunge. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms out to shoulder height. Fold from your hips. Again, let your hands come down. Inhale into wherever your half lift is. Flatten and lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold in, bend both knees. Step your right foot way back. We're going to drop this right knee down. I'm going to move my left foot a little further forward here. Try to stretch out that back leg. Take a breath. With your right hand on the floor, start to turn the body to the left. Left hand can be on your left thigh, or you can extend that arm up and out from the shoulder. Keep breathing. We're going to come back through center, folding over the right leg. Push your hips back, left leg. Push your hips back, roll onto the heel of that left foot, lengthen the body out over that left leg. Full breath. And then come back forward. Walk your hands over to the right side. Swing your left foot back. If you're going to do child's pose, sit back. If you're going to do your vinyasa, you can just start it from hands and knees or from a plank. Even if you're coming into plank, you can still drop your knees again. You want to make sure you have control. Wrists are in line, elbows bend, chest comes down. Lengthen out those legs. Try to pull those legs backward using your feet. Come on into cobra pose. And then we're coming back into down dog or child's pose, your choice. And then we're bringing the right foot forward, lunging with right foot forward. Back up onto hands and knees. This right leg can swing out to the side to get it forward. Left hand's going to be down on the floor. Get your length first. This side can take me a little bit longer to get, I'm going to call it comfortable in the pose. And then we're going to twist. Again, your right hand can be on your right thigh. You can just twist out to your right there. I can get nice rotation. I can push my right shoulder blade back with the hand down. Or you can bring that arm up. How does that shift the pose for you? What's going on in your shoulder? We're going to fold over that right leg. So let your right hand come down. Push your hips back. Roll onto the heel of the right foot. Fold the body over the right leg. Take a breath. Walk your hands to the left side. Swing your right leg back. And come on into a seated position. Have some water. And check to see where we are time-wise. Alright, into a seated position. We're going to do head to knee pose. Beginning with both legs out straight. Pull your left foot in so that sole is facing the inside of the right leg. Fold straight forward over the right leg. Breathe. We're going to come up and we're going to revolve. Turning towards the bent knee. We're going to try to bring the right side of the body over the right leg. Turning out to your left. And this might be your spot. You can just stay upright. You can lean a little bit with your right hand on the leg. If you can reach the toe, you can hold on to the toe. And then if it's okay for your left arm to come up, you're going to reach up and over. If you can get the foot, you can hold on to the right foot. Breathe. You can always use this left hand to push yourself up. You can actually use both hands to work your way back up, supporting your back as you come up. And then switching sides, left leg comes out straight. Right foot pulls in. Lengthen up. And then exhale, fold over the left leg. Come on up. Turn towards the bend knee. Turning to the right. Folding sideways over the left leg. Again, feel your way through here. How far are you going on this side? Right arm can come up. It can reach towards that right hand can reach towards your left foot. And then come up again. You can use one or both hands to come on up. Bring the soles of your feet together for butterfly pose. Exhale, round in. And then inhale on up. Take a breath. We're going to move on to our backs. Let me grab my timer. Come on out onto your back. I'm going to do a twist. Forward up. Pull those knees in. And we're going to drop knees to the right side. If you want to cross your knees, bring your left knee and cross it over your right knee, or crossing your right leg over your left leg over your right leg. However you think about it. It's like crossing your legs while you're sitting in a chair. Knees drop to the right. Arms can be placed really, as you can imagine. I always think about it as like a clock. You can really place your arms in any position along that clock that feels right for you. You can even bring the arm on top of the body. Take it to the opposite side. Pause in the middle. Come back to center. Feet on the floor. Press your low back down. Or if it feels right, you can pull your knees in. And then we're dropping knees to the left side. Right knee can cross over your left. Drop. Soften. Breath. Soften the body as you exhale. Again, where do you want this back arm to go? What feels best for this shoulder? Shavasana. Just like before, feet on the floor or knees pull in. Knees are in, you can rock from side to side. If you're going for a happy baby, grab hold of your feet. A happy baby can be with the feet together. You can keep them low and together, or you can keep them together and pull them up. It becomes a little bit like an upside down butterfly pose. Or you can try to separate those feet with the soles pointing up towards the ceiling. Big breath. Just realized we didn't do pigeon. Usually this is my last pose, but let's do reclining pigeon here. Bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh. You're just going to squeeze in gently. It would just be so wrong to not do some kind of a pigeon pose. What was I thinking? And then we're going to change sides. The legs release, stretch them both up into the air. And then we're just going to bring left ankle on top of right thigh. Hold the back of that right thigh. Breathe. Release this side. Again, just bring your feet up into the air. Deep breath. Let your feet come down, straighten your legs out. However you want to be for Shavasana. You should straighten your legs out first, even if you're going to bring your feet onto the floor here. Okay, so let's do 5-minute Shavasana. Make sure you're comfortable, settle in. Here too, we're looking for those little subtleties. Here we go. Of body positioning and what's comfortable, what's not quite comfortable. Breath. If the neck isn't comfortable, turn your head from side to side. Each breath, soften into the floor or wherever you are. Keep letting go. Take a deeper breath. Move your wrists. Wiggle your fingers. Stretch your arms overhead. And your knees roll to one side. Oh, that feels so good. I want to just stay right there. Which you can do if you like. If you're coming back up. Come on up into a seated position. Take another breath. So we're not going to do Nadi Shodhana here, but this is also another place where you could do Nadi Shodhana now that we're a little more relaxed. For some people that works at the end of the practice, and for other people it doesn't. Your choice. Whichever foot came on top or leg, change legs if that works for you. Hands at the heart. Nice big inhale. Exhale it out. Thank you for sharing in this practice today. Namaste.